Hey guys, we made it. We're at the Cold War. Get excited. I'm excited. So, I know it's different because we're not together, but I will still be here. This is my one way to get to you all. So, watch the videos, this unit, because it's my favorite and I need to share it with you all. I love this unit. So, yeah, watch the videos. And I can tell the people that are watching them because of your summaries in your notes. So, nice job. Nice job. I can tell who's watching the videos and who's not. So keep it up, those of you that are. Um, couple reminders before we get started. So this is for Monday, March 30th, and there will be a new discussion thread for this week. So look there. I post a lot of information in there. If you don't know an answer to something, the answer is probably in the discussion thread. Bell ringers are due tomorrow because it is the end of the month. It is the 31st. So bell ringers are due tomorrow. You should have 11 by the time you turn in your bell ringers. You have a bell ringer today. The question is, what are two ways the end of World War II would lead to tensions between the United States and the USSR, the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics? And what was the current state of Europe, Germany, and the satellite states at the time of the ending of World War II? Okay. So, answer your bell ring question, and they are due tomorrow. You will have a bell ringer tomorrow. Oh, there will be a discussion in the discussion thread today, kind of recapping, what is a Cold War? Let's recap the 1920s, first Red Scare. Red Scare, Red Scare. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when the Bolsheviks come for you? I had to. So recapping the first Red Scare, arms race, communism connected to the Cold War, and the second Red Scare, why are we so terrified of communism in the first place? So we have some recapping to do. Okay, so be there for the discussion. Be there, be there, be there. All right, let's get started. We are doing slides 1 through 4 today. Please remember, this is slide 1, right? So you're only doing 2 writing today, and one of them is the essential question. So you need a new notes document. If you handwrite your notes, I highly recommend that you type them up from this point on. I'm so sorry. You can still write them, but you're gonna have to take pictures of all of them. So here we go. New notes document. Unit 7, post-World War II and the Cold War. Let's go. Let's go. Take me back to the Cold War. Here we are. Here we are. So slide 1, title. Okay. Slide 2, vocab. We all love vocab. This would be the point that I ask you all if anything looks familiar. I'm gonna keep going. I can't get sad. I can't get sad. So you don't have to write all of them down. Wow, I am so excited just looking at all of this stuff. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, so also notice the color of the slides. Red. Red Scare. Communism. Anyway, so make a vocab section. Make a vocab section. You don't have to write all of them down. You can in your free time. I'm not going to wait for you right now. I'm not going to wait for you. So make a vocab section. Make it nice and organized. It's my favorite. Essential questions. This should be slide 1. This should be slide 1. Slide 1, essential questions. Please write all 4 of them down. The numbers at the end of the questions are the standards for the state of Ohio. You don't need to know that. I just put them in there for me. So number 1 of the essential questions, what methods and actions did the government use to fight the spread of communism at home? Number 2, who was Senator Joe McCarthy and what was his role in the second Red Scare? Joe McCarthy's my favorite person. He's terrible. He sucks. He's awful. I can't wait to talk about him. Can't wait. Number 3, what were the circumstances that led to U.S. involvement in the Korean and Vietnam Wars? Number 4, what events led to the end of the Cold War and the end of communist governments, Eastern Europe, and in the USSR? Okay? Let's write those down. The USSR is the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. Russia is a country, and they have taken over satellite states right next to it, and they're going to continue to take land, and make those satellite states, creating the Soviet Union. So Russia is still a country, but they have created other satellite states next to it. They're part of the Soviet Union or the USSR. Soviet, I believe in Russian means like a legislature of some kind. They like a group that makes laws. So it would kind of be like our city council or something like that, or like our state house in Columbus that makes laws for us. I believe that's what it means in Russian. So Soviet Union. Okay? Next, slide 2. I have cut this unit up into different sections. We won't have multiple tests for it though. I have only created one test because we probably won't get through all of the parts before the end of the school year. That's okay. So part 1. So this is slide 2. Part 1, the Cold War begins. Here we are. You have a vocab word, and it is Cold War. So scroll up to your vocab section and write down Cold War. There's a couple things in here that I want to read verbatim or write from the slides because I like the way that it is written, and I think that that could help us here. So, high tension and bitter rivalry known as the Cold War between the United States and the Soviet Union. A lot of the times when we think about Cold War, like the reason why it's called a Cold War is because there's no physical fighting like a hot war would be. However, towards the end of the Cold War, remember, this is going to last from 1945 to 1990. That is some people's lives that this Cold War has been going on. Towards the end of the Cold War, though, we're going to have physical fighting in Korea and Vietnam because we're trying to stop the spread of communism, and we don't want countries to fall to communism, or how I'm going to say it for this entire unit. I think of communism as a cold, like a sickness, and we don't want countries to catch that cold. So we're going to try and do everything we can to protect the people from catching this cold. And so we get involved in some, what they're called proxy wars. The Korean and Vietnam are called proxy wars. So we'll get into physical fighting later on. One main issue that created mistrust between the two superpowers was development of the atomic bomb by the US and the Manhattan Project. Let's note here that after both World Wars, World War I and World War II, we have a Red Scare. The Red Scare of the 1920s, that is immediately after World War I. Okay? After World War II, we have a Red Scare. Why? Why are we having these Red Scares after both World Wars? Also, after both World Wars, the United States left the wars as a economic superpower, right? We are the ones that, there was no physical fighting on our territory, so we're fine. And so we have a stable economy and we have a stable government. So it's going to be our job, or we're going to feel like it's our job, to help other countries rebuild, right? Our allies, we have to help them rebuild because we're the only ones that really can do that. We have a lot of power and influence in these areas because we're like stable and strong. So we have a Red Scare after both World Wars. There's a bunch of different theories on that. Maybe, these new ideas that are spreading scares stable democracies like ourselves. And it is scary. It's like, wow, these radicals are trying to take over in a time where we just experienced something awful. And, economic deprivation leads to political radicalism, but which is true. If your economy is suffering, a dictator can easily take over and say, I can fix it. And so we don't want that to happen after World War II. We don't want dictators to take over. But these radicals with these communist beliefs, they're feeling bold right now to do these things. It's like, all right, we just experienced something awful. To prevent that from ever happening again, which we've heard before, we need to institute communism. No, right? So we want everyone to calm down, take a breath, and say, listen, let them pick what they would like to do, except Germany. Germany's not allowed because we took that power away from them. Let them pick, let them have free and fair elections, but Stalin's not going to offer free and fair elections because that's not in Stalin's vocabulary. And so when people aren't listening to us, we say, all right, we have to intervene. We have to force democracy and capitalism on these countries because we don't want them to be communists. Okay, so Stalin is going to be angry at us for, not helping in the Battle of Stalingrad, and then he's going to carry that on, and he's going to be angry at us for not telling him about the nuclear weapons, and he's going to say, oh, the United States has nuclear weapons, I want nuclear weapons, and he's going to be angry at us. We appeased him at Yalta and Potsdam Conference. We shouldn't have done that, and he's going to feel even more bold and more brave, and he's going to do what he wants. He's going to limit political parties, newspapers, any entity in the Soviet Union or the satellite states that go against communism. He's going to have people killed, sent to the gulag. limiting at people's access to information and education is a way to control the people, and that's how you know you're in a dictatorship, right? Like, if you don't have the right to speak up against your government, then you know that they are the ones that are in charge, and that is scary, right? I have a quote on my board: the power of the people is always greater than the people in power. And Stalin is using this against the people. He's using his strength against the people, and it's getting bad. It's getting bad. So he's limiting people's voices. The Allies notice that he is mistreating the people that don't agree with him. So the countries that say, we don't want to be a satellite state, we don't want to be a part of the Soviet Union, he's going to have killed, he's going to invade, he's going to force it upon them using his military. He's going to deny people resources, which we'll talk about. And the Allies see what he's doing, and us asking him to stop is not going to work. So we have to go in and remove those people for their safety. The Soviets relocated Germans and other individuals in these countries very brutally. He doesn't care. He wants this territory. He wants to redraw the maps, basically, of Europe. Several 100,000 Germans died, and over 1 million were forced to relocate into the western section. If you just so happen to live in the side, like the eastern side of Germany, that is controlled by the Soviet Union, remember Germany's cut up like a pie, and we have East Germany and West Germany. If you lived on the eastern side, you did everything you could to make it over to the western side. You did not want to be under the Soviet-controlled territory. He's going to refuse resources, like I said, but he's also not going to allow them to rebuild. Remember, fighting actually took place in Germany, and he's going to leave it basically in rubbles. He doesn't care. So and families are going to be split up, too. Families are split up. It's not like you can just, like, cross over sides willy-nilly. Like, families are going to be divided up. Like, if you cut up a city, a country, and you can't just cross over, what if you have family members that live over there? So you did everything that you could to flee to the western side. Okay. So let's make a summary for this. What's going on in Europe? Why are the Allies and the Soviet Union disagreeing? Different form of government and economic systems is one. We have capitalist democracies on one side, and we have communist dictatorships on the other side. So that should be helpful for your summary. That's it. So do your bell ringer question. You have written down the essential questions. You've done this slide. Don't forget a summary for it. Don't forget to make your vocab section, and I'll see you tomorrow. All right, we've made it. We're at the Cold War.